I'll get started. So really grateful and excited to be here, everyone. It's our first World Solana Forum. We're hosting a bunch of crypto forums this month of October, showcasing different ecosystems. We have a total of 10 crypto forums. So one of them is the Solana Forum, because we believe this is a super exciting and powerful ecosystem. We think it's one of the few digital asset ecosystems and cryptocurrencies which is going to be here for a while. You know, we think the underlying infrastructure behind Solana is really an evolution of, say, Ethereum or Bitcoin, which were predecessors. In this presentation today and in this talk, I'd love to share some insights and an overview of how Unit functions. I'd like to talk about, you know, Solana and why we're so excited about the Solana ecosystem, how it's progressed in the recent months and years, and where we see it going in the future. And I guess more importantly is why Unit is relevant to the Solana ecosystem and how it fits in. So to begin with, I can give a bit of an introduction, and then I'm going to talk about Unit and then talk about how Unit fits into Solana. And please feel free, if anyone has any questions or feedback or thoughts or needs some clarity, just message in the chat if I'm going too fast or going too slow, or if you like more detail or depth with any particular concept, then please feel free to message, and be happy to talk about that specific concept. So in terms of my background, so I'm half Singaporean, half British, been building technology companies and projects the past 13 years. I've been in the crypto space since 2010. So I used to work for Wikileaks. I built the Android app. In 2010, the government froze our bank accounts, Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, and that's how I got introduced to Bitcoin. So I was helping to lead the fundraising for Bitcoin there. And, you know, this was 10 years ago, and up till now, you know, Bitcoin is still, you know, much bigger now. And we believe it's really just at the beginning. Also ran a popular social network, a few million users, sold a video conferencing app in 2014, worked at one of the leading venture capital funds in Europe, third biggest, managing 800 million euros. And more recently, I'm grateful and honored to be one of the co-founders of Unit. So what is Unit? Like, why are we so passionate about it? Why are we doing what we're doing, and what is the end goal? So we believe in two things fundamentally. One is that value could be distributed much more equitably. So we think that, you know, the economic system at the moment exists and it's really good, but it could be better. So we think that value can be distributed not just amongst the founders and investors of things, but also to the customers and to the employees. So if you look at something like Uber, you know, it started in 2012, it grew all the way till 2018, and it went public for $80 billion. But none of it went to the drivers and none of it went to the customers, you know, to the users and the employees, you know, very small amount of value. And all of it went to the founders like Travis and, you know, Garrett Camp and, you know, his investors. So we think that, you know, one really exciting opportunity is to distribute value more equitably. So that's the first thing that, you know, we think is super interesting. The second thing we think is super interesting is for value to flow around much more freely. So, you know, with the internet, it allowed for information to flow much more freely. With the mobile phone, it basically allowed communication to flow much more freely. So we think, you know, there's a huge opportunity in allowing value and economics to flow much more freely. So that is the why behind Unit. And how are we doing that? So we believe in this thing called the token economy, and we believe that tokens are the solution, and how we're going to get there to solve these two things. You know, more fluidity and flow of value, and a more equitable distribution of value. And what are we doing to help, you know, make the token economy a reality? So we basically built this thing called the Unit network. It's a layer 1 blockchain, very similar to Ethereum, very similar to Bitcoin, very similar to, you know, Solana, but it's focused on the token economy. You know, it's focused on the idea that, you know, in the future, there's going to be lots and lots of different tokens representing communities, representing businesses, representing people and projects. And, you know, for this reality to come through, we basically are working with and we're dependent on ecosystems like Solana, because we believe in this concept of, you know, decentralized autonomous organizations, and we believe in this feature that Unit provides. You know, Unit's a token builder that makes it really easy to create tokens, and within this token builder, there is this concept called a treasury. So, you know, if you look at any token that's created on Unit, you can basically look inside the treasury and look at what's backing up tokens on Unit, And one of the tokens is the SOL token, the Solana token. We have a total of 8 reserve assets, and one of those Solana. Why do we believe that Solana is super interesting? Well, so we kind of looked at lots of different digital assets, and we basically looked at what happened to Bitcoin in 2009, 2014, 2017, 2020, 21, and what happened in 2014 with Bitcoin happened to Ethereum in 2017, and what happened in Ethereum, what happened to Ethereum in 2017 is happening to Solana now. And if you look at it and study it, it's really very similar in terms of an innovation and an evolution. And the underlying technology behind Solana is really cool. Given the high throughput, given the number of transactions a second, the ease of development of Solana, we think it's one of the few blockchains that allow for web level scalability in terms of the number of transactions and usage per second. This is what Solana provides. So what do we provide for the Solana ecosystem, and how do we fit into it? So basically, we think of digital tokens and digital assets as economies, kind of like you think of the Japanese economy, or you think of like the Thai economy, or you think of like the European Union economy. And we think that Solana represents one of these economies. And we think that Solana is super exciting because Solana is like an internet nation, and our role within this Solana internet nation is to basically build the number of organizations, the number of businesses, the number of projects that build within the Solana ecosystem. And we basically want these projects within the Solana ecosystem to have a mechanism by which projects can be evaluated. So going back to this concept of the treasury, I can share my screen here to show you what how Unit is functioning and operating. So I'll share my screen here really quickly. So here you can see this is the Unit network. Here's a wallet. You can see the team tokens. You can see your portfolio. And how you create a token, you basically go to create token and you give it a name, an image, a supply, and a symbol. So we think we have the most advanced and simple way to create tokens. And whenever you create a token, so I can show you an example of a token. See, this is my personal token. Here you can see under bank, you can see exactly how much digital assets are being held in a particular token. So you can see here one of the reserve assets is Solana. And you can basically see how many SOL tokens are backing up the token being issued. So why this is super interesting is because it basically allows Solana to be used as a reserve asset, because basically people look at Solana at the moment, people look at Ethereum, people look at Bitcoin, and it's simply used as a means of payment, or simply used to pay for gas. And where we think there's a huge opportunity for Solana is to be used as a reserve asset. So if you look at a particular cryptocurrency project or a particular coin or a particular token, you can see exactly how many SOL tokens is backing it up. So if effectively, when you hold SOL tokens, you can use those SOL tokens to buy into projects which generate and get you more Solana tokens. So you can, it's basically like a Solana stock exchange. So, kind of you go to CoinMarketCap or you go to CoinGecko and you can see like, a list of token projects. We're excited for, the real economy to be built on top of Solana. And we think that, it's such an exciting and emerging ecosystem. If you think of the vast number of highly intelligent, people building on it, the amount of, marketing and growth behind it. Really amazed in terms of how FTX, which is a huge exchange, has managed to, build Solana in such a short space or support Solana in such a short space of time to be one of the leading protocols. A lot of projects take, a great deal of time, or like I think FTX has done it super incredibly. 2017, 2018. FTX was around, and now it's one of the leading exchanges, and really could overtake Binance in terms of where it's at. I'd like to explain the bridging concept, or the bridging workings, the technology behind the bridges. So we think that the stage of blockchain at the moment is very similar to email prior to, or is similar to email, where you couldn't email people who are using a different email service. So imagine, I have a Gmail, and Anthony has a Hotmail, Karina has a Yahoo Mail, Kitty has a MSN Mail, Danielle has a Proton Mail. the way blockchains operate at the moment is they don't allow you to email one another. So it's like, imagine I have a Hotmail and Daniela has a Gmail. I can't email her. It's like I'm on the Solana network. She's using the Binance Smart Chain network, and Lena is working on the Ethereum network. It's super fragmented. So the cool thing about things like Cosmos and Polkadot, Unit is basically a layer 1 blockchain built on the Polkadot or substrate framework. So it's basically like it's a layer 1 blockchain that basically connects onto the relay chain. Thank you, Kizzy, for joining. Really appreciate you being here. The really cool thing, it connects up to the parent layer 1 relay chain. So what this allows, it's really exciting for us. It allows, let's say, someone who is using Ethereum to send tokens or send value or to interact with someone on Binance Smart Chain, or Binance Smart Chain to someone on Solana, or someone on Solana to someone on Unit. And in terms of the phases, or how the bridging happens, we have basically this concept called a vault. So the vault is basically modeled on two concepts. One is if you're familiar with the idea of wrapped Ethereum. So with wrapped Ethereum, if I send you, let's say, 1 ETH token, because of the gas fees, you're going to receive slightly less than 1 ETH. But if I send you 1 wrapped ETH, then you will receive 1 wrapped ETH. And how that works, getting into a bit more technical detail, is sorry, I lost my train of thought. How that works in technical detail is basically you take 1 ETH token and you convert it to this thing called an ERC20 token. So you have 1 Ethereum token, you convert it to a wrapped Ethereum token. And when you send a wrapped Ethereum token to someone else, they receive this wrapped Ethereum token. It's kind of like, imagine let's say you're sending $100 bill to someone. Imagine if you send them $100 bill directly, they're going to receive $97. But if you put the $100 bill in an envelope and then you send it to them, they're going to open the envelope and receive the $100 bill. So you can think of that, envelope that it's in, it's it being wrapped, basically. So that's the idea of wrapped Ethereum. We think this is groundbreaking because it basically allows you to package up different assets. So like the idea of Ethereum being wrapped on Solana, or the idea of Bitcoin being wrapped on Solana, or let's say Bitcoin being wrapped on Polkadot. We think, in the next 2.5 years, it's not going to matter which chain you're on. I'll be able to send you Bitcoin on Ethereum, and you're going to be able to send it to someone on Solana. It's all going to be interoperable, and it's not going to be like highways which are not connected to one another. At the moment, it's like 2 highways which are next to each other, and if you want to go from one highway to the other highway, you have to basically use an exchange. You have to basically lift the car and then drop the car off into the other highway. So it's super fragmented. So the cool thing about wrapped Ethereum is it basically allows you to, put the car into a container, and then, it's easier to move that container. So the next thing I want to talk about, so that's wrapped Ethereum, is wrapped Bitcoin. So with wrapped Bitcoin, it's slightly different. Wrapped Bitcoin, how it works at the moment is there is a bunch of organizations, like big exchanges, and BitGo, which is one of the biggest custody providers. You basically send them Bitcoin. You send them, let's say, 1 Bitcoin, or you send them 0.1 Bitcoin, or you send them, 5 Bitcoin. They receive this Bitcoin and they send you back WBTC. So that's like wrapped Bitcoin. And this wrapped Bitcoin is now on the Ethereum network. So you can send it to someone, 1 WBTC, they receive on the Ethereum wallet. They can send this 1 wrapped Bitcoin, like this Bitcoin in envelope, to this WBTC organization, wrapped Bitcoin organization, and this organization is going to send them back a Bitcoin. So I guess this was a really speedy, quick run through of wrapped Ethereum and wrapped Bitcoin. So we basically thought, wow, this is amazing. We want people to basically be sending Solana to the Unit network, for the Solana to be wrapped up, within the Unit network, and then basically, flowing on the Unit highway, basically. So, if someone has Solana, it's on the Solana highway. This Solana can basically be lifted onto the Unit highway and just basically keep going. And that's the cool thing about Polkadot. It basically allows for this bridging, though this bridging comes in phases. And what we call, this Solana being put into the Unit network, or Bitcoin being put into the Unit network, we put it in this thing called a vault. So basically how the vault works, it's, very similar to, the WETH, the wrapped ETH, or the WBTC project, where you basically put the Bitcoin into the vault, and you put the wrapped Ethereum into, the wrapped Ethereum, or you put the Bitcoin into the wrapped Bitcoin, and it's basically protected there. The difference between wrapped Bitcoin and wrapped Ethereum, with wrapped Bitcoin, you're trusting BitGo, you're trusting, this organization of supposedly trusted people. With wrapped Ethereum, it's entirely trustless. There is no chance of your Ethereum going missing. There's no chance of it being seized. It's extremely secure. And we want it to be at a stage where it's similar to wrapped Ethereum, where, someone puts their Solana into the unit vault, and everyone can see the Solana there. The only way to get the Solana out is to send the SOLU, the Solana on unit token, to the vault, and they get back the Solana tokens. The way we're getting there is through a number of phases. In the first iteration of this, we are implementing a model very similar to how bonds work. So, when you buy a bond, it's one of the safest assets you can hold, because, the government, when you buy a bond, they're basically, it is the most safe asset, because all the government is doing is basically issuing more money to pay off the bond. It's basically, getting money from the Federal Reserve, or, if a government, it's, printing money to reserve. And how this relates to the unit vault, basically, we use, say, Unit or Polkadot as a collateral for these vaults. If anyone wants to create a vault, they basically need to put up this collateral, and the collateral is basically, so I guess, there's two phases. This is the first phase of the vault, where, there's a number of vaults which exist, and people basically, put, let's say, $1 million worth of Polkadot or unit tokens into the vault as collateral. And this basically allows, someone to send Solana to this vault. They then receive SOLU tokens, like Solana on unit tokens, and this can be used, in the bank of tokens. This can be used to stake Solana within, the unit network. It can be used to buy into projects on the unit network. And whenever someone wants, they can take this SOLU tokens, this Solana on unit tokens, go back to the vaults and receive the Solana back. And why we're so excited about this is because it basically bridges the different chains together. So, going back to what was mentioned before, all of these, we have 8 different chains that we are supporting. 8 of these chains, they exist very fragmented, very fragmented chains, very fragmented in its relationship. So, there's Bitcoin, this is used for payments, and, now people refer to it as a store of value. We think it's, got so much more potential in terms of being able to be a reserve asset for projects. So that's Bitcoin. We would like, projects to not just hold Bitcoin, but to also hold Solana, to hold Cardano, to hold, Kusama, to hold Polkadot, to hold Ethereum. So this sort of bridging and vault system allows for that. So really excited for that. And what else do we provide? So the cool thing about the SOLU token, the Solana on unit token, is we also have a number of really interesting features. So we've got 4 main community features when you issue a token on unit. The first one is the events feature. So, really grateful that everyone is here on one of our events. This is built using the events feature on the unit network. So anyone who creates a token, they can basically organize events and allow their token ecosystem to thrive and participate in events. The second thing that we support within Unit is the news. So it's kind of like a mini Reddit. So it's, within Reddit, you've got the Solana community on Reddit. We would like this to be slightly more decentralized and distributed and transparent, in the sense that, we want people to see, if someone submitted a post, to the Solana community, how likely is this person a bot? We want everyone to see, okay, how much history or what sort of record does this person have who made this post, and be able to comment on it, build up the community. The third feature is contests. So we basically want to make it possible for people to award Solana tokens for doing tasks. So like, imagine, you open up a cafe and you love Solana. We want them to be able to say, hey, I'll give you you know, $100 worth of Solana tokens if you make a video for my restaurant. I'm going to give it to 10 people. So, you know, now you've just incentivized 10 people to, you know, create videos. You've locked up that Solana token as a prize. And when those 10 people make videos, then you can reward, you know, Solana tokens to these 10 people. So we think that, you know, this is a super valuable piece of, you know, infrastructure that, you know, supports the Solana ecosystem. And, you know, it doesn't have to be for 10 people. It could be for 1,000 people or 10,000 people. Or if you wanted to, let's say, incentivize people to go to the gym or to work out, you could say, hey, I want to get 1 million people every day of a month to take a picture of themselves doing, you know, 50 sit-ups, you know, and if they did it for a month, then you would release the Solana tokens to them. So really excited about this because it basically incentivizes lots of people to perform in a behavior that could be, you know, benefiting an organization or supporting a movement. So it basically incentivizes action. And then the fourth feature that we provide under the community is the stores feature. And this is really cool because we basically want people to be buying products and services using Solana. You know, so at the moment, you know, if you ask someone who's a diehard Solana fan and, you know, fanatic, hey, what have you actually bought in Sol tokens? Have you bought any products or services? You know, unfortunately, there are a few places that support Sol tokens, but many of these people who, you know, love Solana, including myself, haven't actually used Sol tokens. You know, it's amazing because, you know, the transaction fees are so low, it's super fast and scalable, but there aren't enough retailers that accept it at the moment. So we think it's kind of similar to the early internet, where it's just not as available as it should be. But, you know, we're excited because we're excited to, you know, get hundreds and, you know, thousands or tens of thousands of retailers offering products and services which are willing to accept Sol tokens. And this, you know, really expands and builds the community. Does anyone have any questions so far, or Yip, is there anything I can answer? I hope it wasn't too fast and hope it's useful.
Wow, Michael, this is super, super useful. I think we need like a short wrap up of the key takeaways in terms of how are we bridging the Solana ecosystem on a incentive economic way, and then also on the technical way. I think you mentioned everything, but I guess for the audience, it will help if they hear it a second time in a condensed version now that they have been like guided through all the technical details.
Perfect, that sounds spot on. So I guess two things, as you said, one is the technical detail, and one is the philosophical or the collaborative detail. So in terms of the technical detail, you know, Solana is a super fast highway. It's probably the fastest highway that exists, faster than Binance Smart Chain, which is a super fast highway. It's, you know, Solana's #1 in terms of, you know, mainstream and popular. So we basically provide a support road for this super fast highway where, you know, you can move your Sol tokens onto the Unit network, you know, support projects and businesses and organizations, and then when you want, move it back to the Solana highway. So we basically allow for that interoperability. And the cool thing about Polkadot is once, you know, Solana bridges well with Unit, it bridges well with all the other Polkadot chains. And, you know, we also have a bridge to Ethereum. So, you know, by Solana bridging with Unit, which is bridged to Ethereum or bridged to Bitcoin, then Solana is also, you know, through two bridges bridging to Bitcoin. So it's a really nice, you know, middle bridge per se. Technically, how is it working? Initially, you know, we have this concept of a vault where you basically put Sol tokens into the vault. It's heavily collateralized to protect the Solana token holders, and then moving towards it being entirely trustless, where, you know, you put the Sol tokens in, it's held by a decentralized trustless wallet, and then anytime you send Solana SOLU tokens to this decentralized trustless wallet, you receive Solana tokens back. You know, that's how it works on a technical level. And, you know, why it's so exciting on a philosophical level is Solana is one of the most exciting, trust-free. That's right. So as Adrian mentioned, you know, we've moved from this idea of trustless to trust-free, where you don't need to trust a person, you don't need to trust an organization. You don't have to depend on us. You know, a big problem with cryptocurrencies and blockchain projects is a rug pull. And, you know, the trust-free access is, you know, trust-free is you know, you don't need to trust and depend on anyone. It's, as Ankur mentioned, seamless. And then why it's so exciting is, you know, Solana is this huge, exciting internet decentralized nation, and we believe that, you know, Unit is also, you know, a really exciting decentralized internet nation, and we'll love to, you know, support and provide products and services and community to the Solana internet nation community so that it can thrive, and that way, you know, we can receive some of the value that this multi-billion-dollar Solana ecosystem has accrued. So that's on high level.
Great.
Yes,
Anybody got any questions to Michael? Please write in the chat. We have 3 minutes.
Really cool. Thanks so much. Also worth mentioning, so this is our first World Solana Forum. Really amazing job, Yep. So proud of your hard work and dedication. Really excited to see how we can move towards, being the leading Solana conference globally. So, we want to showcase all the amazing entrepreneurs and thought leaders and investors, artists, entrepreneurs in the Solana ecosystem. So, our next one is in 6 months' time. Please feel free to reach out to Yip, who's our lead, myself, or anyone else who's supporting her, and really excited and grateful for everyone being here. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to the remainder of the sessions and talks, and so excited, for us to support the Solana ecosystem and allow it to thrive.
Okay, thank you very much, Michael, for this rapid lightning speed introduction to different nodes of the entire ecosystem. I think we would need to watch the recording and then digest and dissect and so on. So this is what we're doing at Unit Masters, right? Looking at these different concepts and understanding them so that we can critically assess them and then also build them in a way that they improve the ecosystem. That's actually what we're doing at Unit 2, right? On a more aggregated level, taking what is there already in the ecosystem, but making it better and introducing our own innovations.